welcome. We're going to start off by stamping our Adventureland stamp onto our squares within the whole block. So we're not going to go over to the side, and that's why we have that little guard. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp just to make a pattern in the back. I am using the Stephanie Bernard color box in Ginger Snap, and we're going to go ahead and just stamp that to make a background pattern. I don't want it too bold, but I do want it to look like a pattern, so that's why we stamp off the side. I don't want it to go over onto the outside of the pattern of the planner page, so that's why, again, I'm using that guide. This color is perfect for our Adventureland sign stamp, and I always clean my stamp. We're going to go ahead and pick out another stamp to complete this pattern, and we're going to use our Jungle Cruise boat. Now we secured that on our stamp block, and we're going to use a color. Now we notice here I wanted a red, but after stamping the trial one, I just glanced at it and thought it was just too bold. So I went ahead, cleaned that off on my Lawn Fawn stamp cleaner pad, and then went ahead and got my tried and true gray. This is Stephanie Bernard color box in Storm. The color is Storm, and it's not black, so it's not bold. It's just a gray. So sometimes when you want your pattern just to kind of not be so bold and stark, I love using this gray. It's almost like a newspaper gray. So I went ahead and filled in those spots with our Jungle Book stamp, our boat stamp. And again, I use that little paper guard for the sides because I don't want it to go over. I want it to stay within that whole rectangle, if you could see. So within those little rectangles, and then there's that one big rectangle, I wanted all of our stamp pattern to stay within that. So went ahead again and just filled those patterns, stamping off the paper. As you can see, sometimes you can see the whole boat, sometimes you can't. That's what makes it a little bit more realistic. Went ahead and cleaned that stamp, and we're moving on. Okay, so cleaned up, put everything away. Now what we're going to do is we are going to place our pictures. We have two pictures from the Tropical Hideaway at Adventureland and Disneyland. Now that Pineapple Sundae, which I'm just looking at, it's so great, came inside of that boat. So we want to definitely record it. It was one to remember. So we're going to go ahead and place everything kind of just gingerly around to see if everything can fit. And then once we do that, we'll go back and kind of make it a little bit more permanent. Now, I love using those labels, but it just didn't work out this time on that top picture. But I really wanted to use it. Next time. Realizing where that sticker can fit, kind of eyeballing everything, and then it's good to go and get stuck down. I'm using my Tombow adhesive, sticking these down. I love using the ephemera on top of the picture, kind of hanging off even. So went ahead and adhered everything down. Now I used that Studio Calico 3x4 card because I wanted that picture to have a little pop. I didn't want it to sit on the pattern we had just created. I wanted it to pop a little bit. So I put it on that card so it would stand out. I'm using that Food Adventures from Paisley Press. And I am going to stick everything down. It's a little tiki love, because usually when we get a Dole Whip, we go and we sit down in the tiki room and we enjoy it. But this time we didn't, but pretty much we always do. Now I'm just going ahead and I'm sticking all of the ephemera around. And then the sticker, which we make, goes perfectly right on there. Adhering that down. And I love using the Studio Calico word phrases. So I'm looking to see which ones we could use. That one I ended up using says yum. And I'm kind of scanning it just to see, am I missing any other ones? But none of them worked out good. Now these Mickey balloons that we have just kind of always complete everything. I always try to use them on our park layouts, and it's ready to go. I call that done, and it goes in our happy planner. This is our memory planning planner.